morning and welcome to Sunday service at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, Vermont. We humbly acknowledge that our meeting house is built on the unceded grounds of the Abenaki. I am Judy Brook, a member of the Worship Associate team. Though we are apart physically, we are together in spirit. Where we usually have an in-gathering Sunday, in these unusual times, we are having an in-gathering month. The focus of today's service is on water. It will include a water communion that is a favorite and beloved tradition in our community. We are an inclusive congregation. One of our favorite hymns that you'll hear in just a while, with words by Rumi, says, "Come, come, whoever you are." We are so glad you have come to be with us this morning. If you would like to light your own chalice, now would be a good time to get it and a match. Come to the start of autumn with new school teachers and procedures, tomatoes still on the vine, pumpkins beginning to turn orange in the fields, and renegade trees sporting early red foliage. Come tap into this congregation of caring souls for sympathy, inspiration, and energy. Come and bring your own unique gifts to our shared ministry of life in this community. Come, let us worship together. Please join me in saying the words to lighting the chalice. We kindle this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
Call to worship today is from the work of the Reverend Manish Mishra Marzetti, who is currently serving as senior minister of the Ann Arbor Unitarian Universalist Church. He wrote this some years ago and called it River Call. Between rocking the boat and sitting down, between stirring things up and peaceably going along, we find ourselves here in community. Each called from many different journeys, many different life paths onto this river road. Some are here because the rocking of the boat has been too much tumult, too much uncertainty, too much pain. Some are here with questions about where the boat is going, how best to steer it, where this journey will end. Others are here as lovers of the journey, lovers of life itself, here in front, beside, behind. Each a passenger, each a captain, doing the best we can. Rest here in your boat. Let the current hold you. Let the current guide you. The river that gently flows through your soul whispers, "Come home. We have been waiting for you."
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, yet again come.
Let us take this time to deepen together into a time of meditation. We will begin our meditation by sharing the joys and sorrows of our community. Then we'll hold a brief time of silence. Let us take a deep breath together, breathing in the breath of life, breathing out the breath of peace, and come into the place of holy listening. Let us hear these words of joy and sorrow for this day, Sunday, the 13th, 2020. Grateful to have gotten to know a dear colleague virtually over these last 5 months, and sorrow to learn of her terminal illness. Hope that I might be blessed to meet her in person. Concern for the people, plants, and animals affected by the massive wildfires out west. A prayer of commitment to cultivate empathy first, even as we struggle to know the facts. Our nation needs our calls for justice and also our faith in humanity. May the joys and sorrows of each be the joys and sorrows of all, reminding us of our shared humanity. As we enter the silence, let us hold that which has been spoken and that which remains unspoken tenderly in our hearts. When Reverend Trish told me that doing the reflection for this Sunday's water-themed service was optional, it took me only a moment to think, water? Water reflection? Reflection on water? Water reflecting our beautiful Vermont landscape here on the west coast of New England? Of course I'll do it. Why, even my last name, Brook, is a chosen water name. So the reflection I offer this morning comes from a deep love of water, personally and professionally as a biologist, who knows that all living things' survival depends upon water, and its interconnectedness holds us all in an interconnected web of water and life through Earth's cycles. We are all drawn to water, no matter our age. Water in reflection doubles the beauty we see. It holds us in mystery, in awe, and invites us into reflection, literally and figuratively. It delights, doubling wildlife scene, plants dancing, water lilies blooming, sunrises and sunsets over water ritually and gloriously mark the start and end of a day, from subtle beauty to garish spills of light and color across water's surface. Water can be a spiritual tool, a way to mark the seasons and seasons of life. Its abstract patterns on water's surface can be a portal to meditation. Water refreshes, replenishes, renews, and reflects in this reflection.
Every Sunday during worship, right in the middle of things, we take up an offering. We do that to remind ourselves that this congregation exists because of the goodwill and generosity and high hopes of its members. This congregation exists because of all of you and your belief in it. And every single Sunday, we share that offering. The tradition of the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, the tradition is to gather the contributions of people and give half of it away to organizations whose work in this community supports the Society's mission and Unitarian Universalist principles and values. You contributed during our several services in July and August more than $1,300. Half of that is already on its way to organizations that are doing the work of racial justice in Burlington. Thank you. Today's offering will be shared with the Joint Urban Ministry Project, otherwise known as JUMP, whose mission is to promote physical, emotional, spiritual well-being by providing support and direct assistance for basic needs and advocacy. So your gift makes a difference right away. And there is a need right now for those of us who can afford to support those who are holding the struggle for equity and justice, to support those who are helping, like JUMP, to support those who, like you, are brave enough to dream a better world for all. So don't wait. Get your wallet now or take out your phone. You could even go online to the website or to your Realm account. You can give once or you can set up a recurring gift. It's okay. If you need to pause the video, we'll be here when you get back. Please be generous. Thank you for your faith and your gifts. Will you join me, please, and say the words of dedication for this morning's offering? With gratitude, we dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other and our community, seek truth, and act for justice.
Hello everyone, I'm James Stewart. I'm the music director and choir director here at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington. And I wanted to let you know that choir is getting started up. We're going to be doing our virtual choir starting this week, this Wednesday at 7:30. If you are interested in being a part of the choir virtually, we're going to be rehearsing virtually, we're going to be performing virtually, putting all the videos together in a presentation kind of like what you're about to see in just a moment. If you're interested in being a part, no matter what part you sing, just take this email right here, email me and tell me that you're interested, and I'll send you the Zoom link and you can be a part of what happens this Wednesday at 7:30. Enjoy what we did last spring as we had a virtual choir presentation of Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry-land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the Phalos, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. And the earth is my blue boat home.
It was 45 years ago, 1975. A woman named Lucille Shuck Longview, who was a member of First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Lexington, Massachusetts, went to a United Nations assembly in Mexico City. The assembly was called Women's Year, and Lucille Shuck Longview was a Unitarian Universalist delegate to this UN assembly. As the story has been told more than once, Lucille Shuck Longview, while there, realized how much her beloved Unitarian Universalism was mired in ideas and habits of the past, many of them patriarchal. Sexism was everywhere, in the language and the traditions of the UUA, in who held power, in whose voices were heard, in how change happened, and didn't. So Ms. Longview determined when she got home to begin something. The merger that created the UUA, the merger of the Universalist Church of America and the American Unitarian Association, that happened in 1961, just a little bit more than a decade earlier. And there was clearly much work still to do to create a religious tradition and communities that would serve all people and the world. So she gathered women to think and talk and plan, and they authored in 1977 a resolution to the General Assembly of the UUA. They called it Women and Religion. And this resolution, which was passed in 1977, called for the intensive examination of the sexism inherent in religious literature and institutions, beginning with the Unitarian Universalist Association. The UUA president made a commitment to work on the resolution, and the UUA encouraged districts around the continent to support the women and religion groups that were cropping up in lots of places. One thing wasn't easy to miss. In 1961, the year of the merger, a new set of purposes and principles was drafted. A new purpose with principles of what this new thing, the UUA, would be about and for. And what was hard to miss is all the male gendered language in the purposes and the principles that, for example, expressed the concerns and dignity of mankind and failed to address the care of Mother Earth as a religious priority. These needed to be rewritten. At the 1985 General Assembly, the principles as we now know them were adopted for the whole UUA. But that period, 1977 to 1985, the years in between the first resolution and the new principles, it's easy to imagine the countless meetings and conversations and discussions and endless drafts and redrafts, and one is pretty sure also the dissension and misunderstanding and frustration and hope that went into this effort. And the worship services that were created that served as deep spiritual explorations of the transformations that were hoped for and not yet there. In 1980, so in between 1977 and 1985, Lucille Shuck Longview and Carolyn McDade, you will probably recognize her name. She is an amazing composer who wrote, among other wonderful songs, Spirit of Life. Longview and McDade were asked to create a worship service for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. It was a service, a meeting and a service held in November 1980 in East Lansing, Michigan, and it was called Coming Home, Like Rivers to the Sea. In that service, McDade and Longview wanted a new ritual to speak of, quote, our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet, unquote. This new ritual centered around an inclusive symbol of women's spirituality, water. More than a metaphor, water is elemental and primary. It calls forth feelings of awe and reverence. The ocean is understood as the beginning, the place from which all life began, the womb of life. And Carolyn McDade said later that she realized that this worship service was actually a new story of creation. They wrote this about the first water communion. The water ceremony became the central part of a religious service that broke with tradition in significant ways. It was created by lay women, women who had long been silent in the pews. The ritual space was also made sacred by the women themselves. We gathered to worship in a way authentic and liberating, not as in a church, but in a semicircle around a large common earthenware bowl. They had asked 8 different women, each coming from quite a distance, to bring water, and they did. Water from the Rio Grande River in Texas and Mexico, from the Assiniboine River in Western Canada, rainwater from Maryland, water from the Pacific Ocean and also the Atlantic. All the water got poured into the earthenware bowl, and each bearer described its significance in the world, in the whole system of the planet. The power of that ceremony comes through in their descriptions years later. We came to create, to celebrate, and to live by the only spirituality worthy of our devotion, a spirituality that uplifts, empowers, and connects. So, water communion was not originally imagined as a fun ceremony for all generations to do together as congregations regather in September. It's become that. It has evolved into that. It is fun. It is for everybody. But it's important too to know its origin story, which is also part, I think, of this ritual that's come down to us, perhaps especially important this fall. The ritual was created in a time of change and anger and hope and urgency, a time of recognizing injustice so baked into institutions that it took a real effort just to see it. At that point, it was sexism. In our time, the thing that's baked in that we're struggling to see and to change is white supremacy. In ritual, in worship, we create a container for feelings and stories and also wisdom and learning. Ritual honors community. It holds up the strength to believe in and to struggle for new beginnings. New beginnings. Whether it's surviving the pandemic or breaking down divisions and hatred, building bridges to and among our common humanity. Remembering that our dreams are about more than our own survival, about keeping our stuff and our rights and our everything the way it's always has been. Our dreams are about justice in their deepest form. Justice, which is how love shows up in public. May this Water Communion Sunday be a reminder of how much the people of this congregation care about and count on one another, and a reminder too, and a symbol and a sign of hope, of joy, and of love.
How are you kids doing today? Doing well. I love you guys. You know.
Okay, somebody, there's a bee right there.
Hi everybody, we're going to introduce and sing our hymn, Now Let Us Sing. It's hymn number 368. And there's two parts to sing, and we have three friends to choose from. You can sing with Jeremiah on the lower part, or sing the upper part with Allison and I. But we'll all start off singing the lower part together, just like this. 1, 2, 3.
Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing. Sing, 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 lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the faith within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the faith within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Now let us
sing to the power of the faith within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the faith within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the love
Sing.
within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the
Sing.
love
Sing.
within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the faith within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the
Sing.
joy
Sing.
within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the faith within. Thank you.
As I extinguish the flame, please join me in our shared words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again.
Today's benediction is adapted from the words of Kayla Rice, "All rivers run to the sea." It starts with a drop and then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea, waters mingled like our common humanity. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred hour, your hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea.